I hope everyone had a very, very nice Yontif and a beautiful Pesach. We are reading this week's Parshas by Yom Hashmini. And the end of the Parsha we introduced to the laws of kashrus and all the dinim that apply to kosher animals, non-kosher animals, etc. And then the Torah tells us about the fish. And when it comes to the fish, in order for a fish to be kosher, it has to have snapir vekaskeses, it has to have fins and scales. And the Mefarshim explain, they suggest metaphorically that each of these simanim of kashrus, there's lessons to be learned. So for example, an animal to be kosher has to chew its cud. It has to ruminate. Chewing its cud, ruminating, suggests, again metaphorically, but language also is very significant. Ruminate means also to think about, to consider, to reflect, to chew on it, chew on something, to reflect, to be a reflective person, a thinking person. That's the metaphor, that's the analogous idea. To ruminate, to go ahead and be reflective. A kosher animal, yes, it chews on things over and over. It gets to the core of the idea. It has split hooves. It has a sense of bechira chavshus. It chooses which direction to go. Its hooves suggest I can choose right, I can choose left. And again, perhaps messages for us as well. A fish has, to be kosher, needs fins and scales. Fins represent the idea of being able to run away from dangers, things that are threatening us spiritually. We have the ability to flee. Scales is like a coat of armor that also protects us. It's an outer surface that protects us from threats that will go ahead and impinge upon us. But Chazal tell us, the Torah brings down in Siman Pei Gimel in Yeridea, that if you can't tell if a fish has fins or scales, let's say it's already been skinned, you cannot tell, it doesn't have those simanim. So another indicator whether it's kosher is, does it have a shidra? Does it have a spine? Because a spine, yes, when it comes to, think about octopuses, jellyfish, starfish, they don't have spines. When it comes to another siman of a kosher fish, that if you can't tell if it has snapir vekaskeses, does it have a shidra? Does it have a spine? What does a spine allow a fish to do? A spine allows a fish to swim upstream, to go against the current. When the current is going downstream, having a shidra enables the fish to go ahead and swim against the current. And perhaps that's not just a siman kashrus of a fish. Perhaps it's also a siman kashrus of a human being, is the ability to recognize emes and sheker, to recognize that perhaps not everything that society around us is doing is 100% Torani, is 100% kosher. The ability to be like Avram Ha'ivri. The whole world was in a one direction. Avram had the strength, the ability, the spine, the intestinal fortitude to go to the other side, to go ahead and respond against the flow, against the stream, to go ahead and swim against the tide. That's not just a siman kashrus of a fish, that's a siman kashrus of a human being, to go ahead and swim upstream, to go ahead and recognize emes and sheker, and to be able to, at some times, to say, listen, this is not okay, and I have to go ahead and be like our forebearer, Avram Ha'ivri, go to the other side, be able to swim upstream. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos Kodesh.